When you come to Kvarner, treat yourself to an experience you will remember. Enjoy the luxurious ambience. Experience superior service. Indulge in endless pleasures. The pearl of the tourism offer in the pearl of the Adriatic. Liburnia, Hotels and Villas.
Welcome along to Vallelunga, where we are just a few moments away from seeing the EuroNASCAR 2 cars racing for the first time this weekend as part of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series American Festival of Rome. 33 degrees Celsius right now here at the circuit, and that's just the ambient temperatures. If you're on the tarmac, or indeed if you're in the cockpit, it's all the more warm out there on the circuit at the moment. The conditions are sizzling and scintillating here at Vallelunga at the moment. And the EuroNASCAR 2 race is about to get underway. Certainly a lot of eyes in EuroNASCAR 2 will be trained on Alberto Nasca. Alberto Nasca, the YouTube superstar that races with us for a second season in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, a fan favorite here in his home nation, and we're going to be watching with intent to see how he performs. He will be starting on the front row alongside Paul Dufresne. Paul Dufresne in his regular seat, his season-long seat, the number 3 car within EuroNASCAR 2. But of course, as you all know, if you've been keeping up with EuroNASCAR news recently, or indeed if you have been looking at the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier, you'll know that Paul Dufresne has taken over from Frédéric Gabillon in EuroNASCAR Pro as well. So Dufresne double dutying this weekend, and he lines up alongside Alberto Nasca. Dufresne on a pole position, which could make for a very exciting race a little later on in 14 minutes when we go to the countdown, or we go to the start command and we get the formation lap underway. Vladimir Siortsis, the driver who has taken every single victory so far in the 2023 EuroNASCAR 2 season, starts only in 3rd, which is a relative disappointment for Siortsis with the season he's had so far. He'll line up alongside Gil Linster on that 2nd row of the grid, but Siortsis looking extremely competitive so far this season, and he'll be looking to transfer that form on to this track, the 2.6 mile, 4.1 kilometre Autodromo Vallelunga. Our thanks to the marshals who are diligently working away down there in the pit lane and around this wonderful facility. As you can see from above, it's 14 corners with one sector that's very fast and flowing, and a final sector that is quite the opposite. It becomes quite the go-kart track towards the end of the lap, and we've already seen some argy-bargy, some drama, some contact in the EuroNASCAR Pro race. And we'll have to see whether that continues on into EuroNASCAR 2. Certainly you would expect it to. As you can see, the safety cars are there and ready, and soon the stock cars will come out onto the circuit. And we will see the cars out on circuit very soon, I'm sure. It's going to be quite a rushed, I think, grid procedure when we finally get the cars out on circuit. And there have been a few amendments since the EuroNASCAR Pro race regarding the finishing order. The likes of Alina Leubnegger and Neo Lambert have swapped positions in the provisional order. Balistreri and Romagnoli, after their collision, they've also had their positions swapped. Alina will also get the bonus points for most positions gained because of that Steward's decision as well. So a great day at the office for Alina Leubnegger in EuroNASCAR Pro. But we switch focus to EuroNASCAR 2, where the cars are heading out onto the track at the moment. There's the 56 car, the machine that you'll have seen in the hands of Mark Goossens if you're watching EuroNASCAR Pro earlier on. It will be starting outside of the top 10 in this race. It'll be on row 11 of the grid in the hands of Sven van Leer. 56 Cal Racing car, of course. Cal Racing with high hopes coming out of Friday, because Alberto Nasca was at the top of the free practice sessions in EuroNASCAR 2, whereas Gianmarco Ercoli was on top in the same car, in the number 54 Cal Racing machine in EuroNASCAR Pro, and Ercoli has subsequently gone on to take the victory in EuroNASCAR Pro Race 1 of the weekend, round 5 of the season. Now Alberto Nasca has the opportunity to emulate Ercoli. Of course, Ercoli started from pole. Nasca will start from P2, the outside of the front row. 2x2 formation doesn't last too long around this circuit, because here at turn 2, where we're currently situated, things tend to go single file. The hugely fast Curva Grande section, not for the faint of heart in the slightest. And usually see the driver on the outside have to yield, although sometimes the driver on the inside will elect to do so instead. It's certainly a corner where nerve is required on a 2x2 rolling start. And then quite the opposing feature of the circuit relative to Curva Grande is the complex at the end of the lap. You see turns 10, 11 and 12 there in that shot, and there's 13, the second part of the S's, the final sector. Very compact, very tricky, and quite significantly narrower than other parts of the circuit as well. It's quite the challenge for our competitors, and one that no one is taking lightly. The Autodromo de Vallelunga, particularly in these warm conditions, is proving to be a very, very cruel adversary for our competitors. And what a shot that is of Alberto Nasca pulling up to his grid slot. Nasca will mean business this weekend. He's already had his first race of the weekend in the supporting Euro Legend Cup series, finishing 6th place in their first race of the weekend.
Check.
And the sounds of the cars approaching the grid will also mean that Andre Vigol approaches the grid. I'm sure we'll try and get an interview or two before the start command. However, we are running quite tight, 8 minutes and 45 seconds until the command is given, but Andre has indeed retained the hat and found a driver to talk to.
Cheer to your starting position, and the whole grandstand cheering, applause, and shouting your name.
Yeah, that's simply amazing, and that's why I decided to start in P2, because this is in this part there is the shadow you can see, and I'm close to the grandstand. I mean, yeah, it's an incredible feeling, really. Wonderful.
Any ideas how this race is going to be?
I mean, I don't know, because I'm a bit disappointed, because I was doing the pole position, and the qualifying I just found traffic, and these conditions are difficult, because with this hot temperature you just have one good tire, one good lap with the tires, and then you can't do the pole position anymore, and then in that lap I found traffic, so it's always a lottery. But the race as well is going to be a lottery because of the heat. The body resistance will be very, very, very hard. In this moment I don't know what I'm saying, so that's the problem of the high temperatures. So I hope that Giuffre used all his energies in the race of the Pro, so now he will go a bit slower. But congratulations to him, because he did the pole position in the Pro as well for race 2, so I mean, he's mega fast this weekend.
Grazie mille and good luck.
Thank you, bye.
Back to you, Adam.
Always good to hear from Alberto Nasca on the grid. He will be preparing to wow the audience, and look at how full that grandstand is there. Incredible. Martin Dubek, the 2021 EuroNASCAR 2 champion on screen. He starts from 6th on the grid. Dubek has had more form in EuroNASCAR Pro than EuroNASCAR 2 so far this year. He'll be looking to rectify that and maybe try and throw his hat in the ring for a second title. We're at the point in the season where we're no longer really at the start of the year, but we're also still at a time where people can recover. Let's go down though to Andre once again.
Alberto Nasca said he hopes that you have no energy left after the EuroNASCAR Pro race. Have you the energy to win this race?
Yeah, I have twice. No, it wasn't the problem of the physical condition, it was the problem of the heat, you know, the first race. So I'm 100%.
All right, then good luck and have fun.
Good, thank you.
Someone's confident in his physical conditioning then. Paul Dufresne feels okay. He said, well, it is a problem with the heat though, so we'll have to see whether the heat causes him any grief across the 18 laps. And there is the 18 car, Claudio Remigio Capelli. He'll line up 7th on this grid alongside Thomas Tuffel. Capelli, another driver who's doing Legends as well as NASCAR this weekend. So along with Alberto Nasca, switching between different types of car, which is probably just as difficult, if not more, than doing 2 EuroNASCAR races in the same day. So that will be interesting to see how that affects them. But let's go back down to Andre with Liam Hasemans waving at him.
No, it's Jill Linster, but I will stay here because there's a lot of wind blowing inside the cockpit here for Jill Linster. I think you're really hungry to get the first podium and maybe the win today, right?
Yes, that's actually right. I'm sitting in a good position. Yeah, just hunting the podium and hopefully the win.
Any special strategies today?
Yeah, surviving. That's all.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, Jill Linster there, pretty blunt with that, but what Andre missed there was Liam Hasemans photo bombing him outrageously for about 10 seconds before we throw to him. Liam Hasemans down there, keeping an eye on Jill Linster. There's a lot of teamwork there at the number 50 camp. You've got Loris Hasemans helping Liam helping Jill Linster, along with brother Loris, both of them providing advice to the other driver of the number 50 Hendricks car. But I think he summarised that well. Surviving, that is exactly the main priority for this race. So 4 minutes, just under, until the start command is given. It seems that we might be missing a car in the form of the number 27, which is not a surprise. Sadly, Patrick Schauber's car appears to be missing. The number 27 Double V Racing car was quite badly damaged in a crash on the exit of turn 14. I don't think we've seen it there in the grid slot it was supposed to take up in 5th. Huge shame again for Patrick Schauber. Last time at Brands Hatch, he missed the Sunday entirely because of a collision with he and Jack Davidson. And this time, not even his collision preventing him from taking the start in this race. Few other gaps in the grid as well. As we see there, the number 9 car. This is Marzi's Victor Motorsport entry. Good to have Victor Motorsport back this weekend. I believe they weren't present for Brands Hatch. Romagnoli and Balistreri also not on the grid after their coming together in the EuroNASCAR Pro race. So we are a few cars down on the initial 26 starters, but we're still going to have a thunder of the better part of 10,000 brake horsepower in the not too distant future. The start command in just over 2 minutes' time. The number 9 car there, as we saw. And there are some of the gaps, quite a few gaps up and down the grid. The 88 car is starting. This was one that was a little bit damaged earlier on as well. The 88 in the hands of Max Lanza had a fairly rough go of it in the pro race earlier on. Roberto Benedetti will be looking for a cleaner run of things. 1 minute and 20 till the start command then. Have a different Grand Marshal once again giving the instruction to start engines. You had some very enthusiastic drivers start your engines commands at the American Speed Fest at Brands Hatch, and some good mustard on one of the on the intro earlier on as well in EuroNASCAR Pro. Not that it's a competition among our Grand Marshals, of course, but the more excited you sound, the better we think you are. It's always good to see an excited drivers start your engines. 35 seconds until that command, then Martin Dubeck thoroughly focused, looking out of that windscreen. He is ready to go. The spectators and VIP guests are being ushered away from the grid, and that's because the command is about to be given. It will be NASCAR and Dufro who will lead them away on the formation lap in just a few seconds' time. I believe the command is about to be given.
Drivers, start your engine!
Say an 8.5 out of 10 at a bare minimum there. Very good job. The command has been given, and the cars fire into life now. It will be Paul Dufro with all of the pressure on him on pole position. And we are noticing as well that one of the Speedhouse cars is missing. Igor Securo in number 40 has gone missing as well. As you can see, quite a few cars that are absent. I think we still have 21 or 22 cars here on the grid, but a shame that we've got a few gaps. Nonetheless, this race will be no less spectacular with Dufro and NASCAR there on the front row. The hard-charging Vladimir Osiortsis is there in third place too. We'll keep an eye on him as this race gets underway. But let's talk you through the grid. It is Paul Dufro who lines up on pole position in the RDV competition number 3 car. He is joined by Alberto NASCAR for Cal Racing on that first row. P3 for Vladimir Osiortsis and Academy Motorsport. 4th position for Gil Linster, the Luxembourg-based driver for Hendrix Motorsport. In 5th position, Patrick Schauber should be there, but it doesn't appear he'll be taking the start. Martin Dubeck in 6th position. He will be alone on row 3. Claudio Remeggio Capelli in 7th. 8th place for Tafel in the number 34, the Race Art Technology car for the Swiss driver. Thomas Dombrowski in the 66, lining up 9th. And rounding out our top 10, Melvin de Groot in the 69 Blake Molen entry. From there, we know that Romagnoli isn't taking the start. So Benedetti will be alone on the 6th row of the grid in the 88. Balistreri in the 38 also doesn't appear to be starting this race. So the number 9 of Marzi will be alone on row 7. Row 8, Nick Schneider in the 46. Securo's number 40 car may be taking the start from the pits, but unfortunately won't be taking that grid slot. Max Mason, 17th. Paolo Valeri alongside him. Strickler and Blakemolen, Mikael Blakemolen, 19th and 20th. Van Leer, 21st. Panagiotis in 22nd. And from there, the field continues on to Jack Davidson at the very back. It's worth spotlighting that. Davidson, more than likely, on pace and performance, should make his way through the order a bit. But he's got a lot of work to do from 26th and last on this grid. Keep an eye, though, on Vladimiros Tsiotsis. He has a chip on his shoulder, I would suggest, after the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier on. He got rather bullied about a little bit in that race and ended up finishing outside the top 5 in a race where he should have finished much higher. He's taken every single race victory so far in the 2023 EuroNASCAR 2 season. Can he make it 5 from 5 at Vallelunga in race 1 of the weekend? Thunderous small block V8s circulate at achingly low speeds, but now the safety car will free them and unleash them, and Paul Dufresne will lead us to the start of this race. Dufresne in the 3 car has the inside line going off the line, and he'll have the inside line critically for the extremely aggressive turn 2 that is Curva Grande. It's a good start though from both he and Alberto Nasca. It's a drag race down to the first corner on lap 1 of 15. Dufresne on the inside, Nasca on the outside. Who leads? It looks like it's going to be Alberto Nasca. Nasca carries the speed around the outside at Curva Grande, and he does indeed lead the race in the early stages. Dufresne in second place, side by side further back. One of the Vic Motorsport cars goes very, very, very wide indeed. That's Paolo Valeri. He rejoins the race without too much trouble. Jill Linster there in third place. Then it's Vladimiros Tsiotsis in fourth. Claudio Remeggio Capelli, though, dives to the outside line. He's late on the brakes. Squeezes Tsiotsis out. Fourth place for Claudio Remeggio Capelli, although Tsiotsis tried to hold on the inside line. Vladimiros Tsiotsis in the number 5 is in P5, or make it P6, because here comes Martin Dubek. Dubek dives up the inside, Thomas Tafel as well, and Melvin de Groot gets past Tsiotsis as well. Vladimiros Tsiotsis, the points leader, the driver that has taken every victory so far in the EuroNASCAR 2 season. I make it 8th position at the moment. All sorts of banging and barging going on further back as everyone gets into each other. Martin Dubek unsettled by Thomas Tafel. Tafel, though, goes very, very, very wide outside of turn 11. Tsiotsis is trying to get the power down and failing to do so. Martin Dubek has gotten past Thomas Tafel. I believe that puts him into 5th position. We'll catch up with all of the places. 4th position, my apologies, puts him into 4th position. But what a first lap that was. They'll cross the line to complete lap 1 of 15, and it is Alberto Nasca who leads, much to the delight of the Italian faithful here at the American Festival of Rome. Here comes Vladimiros Tsiotsis, though. He's now got to try and perform an almighty comeback to have any opportunity to not just try and keep that win record, but really any opportunity at a podium now rests in his ability to make quick overtakes. He tries to get to the inside of Melvin de Groot, fails to do so. Thomas Tafel locks up ahead of them, and he goes off wide coming out of turn 5. That's a free position then for Tsiotsis as the Swiss driver struggles. Roberto Benedetti now trying to get to the inside, or to the outside even, of Tafel. Nick Schneider late on the brakes there as well in the 46 Marco Stipp Motorsport entry. Oh, and he collects Thomas Tafel. Oh dear, that was a little bit of a moment there, and I think someone collected Tafel as well and got damage as a result. Well, it's been a dramatic start to this race. We're on lap 2 of the race already. About to complete lap 2 of the race. And it is Alberto Nasca that leads the way. The 94 car to the inside here of Mikael Bleekemolen. So Strickler was trying to find a way through. It looks like he has damage. It looks like the car is leaning down in its left front. The 27 is running, so that's good news. Patrick Schauber has taken the start eventually. Though he did start from the pit lane, as did Securo in the number 40, but definitely a problem for Strickler in the 94, unfortunately. That car is badly damaged. I assume he collected the spinning 34 car. Melvin de Groot still under pressure, though, from Vladimir Osiortis. This is the battle for 6th position. De Groot, the Dutchman, takes the outside line. I think he made that relatively easy for Vladimir Osiortis, but then he tries to dive back to the inside for turn 5. Can't quite get it done. Osiortis then moves up into 6th place. And Thomas Dombrowski, a statement of intent with that slide. 88 car in with damage. Benedetti's race may have come to an early end as well. Have to imagine there's some bodywork down there. There is some in the runoff area, but there have to be a few shards of fiberglass elsewhere too. Going right over those sausage curbs there was Dombrowski on the exit of turn 8. Osiortis now really needs to focus on getting away from Melvin and trying to move into the top 5. Martin Dubek is his next target. Finally into the pits has gone Strickler in the 94, struggled to get that car in. This is the completion of lap 3 of the race, even though indicator says 2. We are about to start lap 4 this time. Martin Dubek under a lot of pressure here from Claudio Remeggio Capelli. Rather Dubek pressuring Claudio Remeggio Capelli is what I should say, but look at how quickly Vladimir Osiortis has closed in on both of them. And as we go on to lap 4 of the race, with him already in 6th position, if he can get past Dubek and Capelli quickly, a podium might not be out of the question. However, that's going to be easier said than done. It did look, though, like Osiortis was having a look potentially at Dubek as they approach turn 7, I should say. And he did. Osiortis got past Dubek there at turn 7. Behind them, Dombrowski has gotten past Melvin de Groot as well. But Vladimir Osiortis critically back up into 5th position. On the first lap of the race, when he got to turn 7 in 5th place, I said that was about as bad as it could get for his first lap. He then lost more places, being muscled out of the way. And Claudio Remeggio Capelli there, I think, may have just played a very smart move. He just allowed Osiortis by there. No battling at all from the bearded Italian. He said, you know what, go through. And I think his intention is to try and follow the wheel tracks of Vladimir Osiortis up to the top 3. So Osiortis up into 4th position. However, Capelli actually looking quite racy there through turn 14. Of course, what he doesn't want to do is lose out to Dubek as well. Be unsurprised to hear that the incident between the 46 and the 34 is under investigation. The incident between Schneider and Thomas Tuffel. Meanwhile, after what looked like being allowed through, Claudio Remeggio Capelli is certainly investigating Vladimir Osiortis. Lap 5 of the race. And the number 5 is, well, 10 seconds off the lead. Alberto Nasca, he is 1.6 seconds clear of Paul Giuffreau. Gil Linster is in 3rd place, just under 4 seconds away from the lead. So the top 3 have actually not just driven away, but also spread themselves out. A 10-second penalty to the 46 of Nick Schneider. That collision with Thomas Tuffel, that's no surprise, but Schneider in 9th place will likely drop down the order. Paul Giuffreau using a lot of the runoff area there. Ran very, very wide indeed out of turn 11. Alberto Nasca, though, continues to manage the race at the moment. There you see on screen the penalty we've mentioned for Nick Schneider. Will be applied at the end of the race, of course. Not a drive-through penalty or a stop and go. Alberto Nasca with a 1.9 second advantage. Currently leading the race fairly comfortably. Of course, with so much drama already, one would say we're quite lucky to have avoided a safety car. And if you're Alberto Nasca, you're mightily relieved that we haven't seen one. We'll be hoping that continues. Nasca heads towards turn 10 here. You see he takes a fairly central approach to the corner. He doesn't go all the way out. Just trying to be as smooth as possible. He's in a situation where he's controlling the race. He's got Giuffreau pushing behind him, so it's not as if he can let off the throttle and just coast home. But he's in a situation where he can think a little bit more about what the tyres are doing underneath him, how he can preserve those tyres and minimise the potential wear, not just at the end of this race, but at the end of the race on Sunday as well, because these tyres will perform for him in both races. A single set of slicks used for qualifying and the two races here in EuroNASCAR 2. Battle on then for P5. Claudio Remeggio Capelli with some damage, a slightly askew piece of bodywork that I don't remember being there previously, so whether he's had a bit of a moment or not, I'm not sure, but what is for certain is the fact that the number 7 car of Martin Dubek is right there with the Italian. Meanwhile, Securo in the number 40 Speedhouse car is unfortunately back in the pit lane. So the woes continue for the number 40 outfit. No such dramas though for Dubek right now, who is zoned in on the rear of the Mustang ahead of him. Some traffic up ahead. The nature of this race, we see another car exiting the pit lane. The nature of this race has been very much one of attrition and potential drama. As a result of that, we have quite a few cars kind of out of position, several laps down. That was Balistreri in the 38 car that rejoined the race, so actually took the start of the race. Balistreri wasn't there for the beginning, of course, after his collision. Good effort from the team there to get the car back out onto the track. Often, if you can't take the start, you think, well, why bother? But you can collect some points. The double T entry of Cesar Balestri heads out onto the track. There's Paul Giuffreau, certainly no less committed through the Curva Grande, and then the kink that follows at turn 3. This weekend started on a high on Thursday evening with a parade and autograph session in the Campagnano di Roma, and this is the corner named after the town just south of the circuit, Campagnano. Turn 7 of the circuit. It was a really amazing sight, seeing the cars in the piazza and in the bustling, busy streets of the little Italian town. Roaring American V8 thunder was brought to the community, and the community responded with huge amounts of enthusiasm, not just for the cars but also for the stars. One of them, of course, being this man Alberto Nasca, who leads the way at the moment. We are on lap 8 of the race, about to cross the line to begin at lap 9 next time by. already over half distance. And while there's been a lot of drama going on further back for Alberto Nasca, this has been fairly easy going since going side by side through turn 2. Took the lead by going around the outside of Curva Grande and hasn't looked back since. Great to hear the car rumbling past as they go through Curva Grande at turn 2. The number 1 car looking rather worse for wear. That's Max Mason. He's all the way up in 13th position. He's just been overtaken by Thomas Tuffel, but clearly that car has been in the wars, although it was taped up at the start of the race. So I wonder whether, rather than there being any moments for him, I just wonder if the car's come apart again underneath him, as it were. Hearing that Martin Dubeck may be retiring from the race as we see some fighting further back. I don't think we've seen this on the pictures yet. My apologies if we have, but I understand Dubeck has had a problem. He's down in 20th position, as you can see on your graphics. So Dubeck, who was challenging Claudio Remeggio Capelli, in trouble in the pits, and he may not come back out, which is hugely unfortunate for Dubeck, whose EuroNASCAR 2 season continues to fall by the wayside. Patrick Schauber, meanwhile, with that move we're seeing on circuit, up to 8th position. So Schauber, who started from the pits, he's picked his way through and is all the way up into 8th place right now. He could yet catch Melvin de Groot as well. He's just 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds back from de Groot. So the 27 car that started from the pits has done a great job. Granted, a lot of cars have retired from this race, but Schauber has done a lot of overtaking. The driver who was qualified for 5th on the grid and unfortunately couldn't take the start. Hopefully he can get the opportunity to showcase his pace properly soon, because it's clear that Schauber is quick enough to challenge for race victories. He just needs that opportunity. Mikael Bleekemolen under pressure from Paolo Valeri. This is the battle for 9th and 10th place. Valeri in the red and black number 8 car. Let's see if he can make a move worthy of mid-2000s Dale Jr. Against a driver who has raced in Formula 1, Mikael Bleekemolen, now 73 years of age, still a handy peddler. Max Mason, unfortunately, into the pits as well. There's only 15 cars left that are running unhindered, or maybe 17, I should say. 17 cars left that haven't had major dramas. Keeping an eye on the deficit between de Groot and Schauber. So I get the feeling that before the end of this race, Schauber may make a couple more places. I think anything beyond 5th place is difficult, but he's within 4 seconds of Capelli, Dombrowski and Groot. We have started lap 11 of this race. Mikael Bleekemolen continues to be pressured here by Paolo Valeri. Just behind them as well is Nick Schneider, but of course he's got that 10-second penalty looming over his head for the contact with Thomas Tuffel. Tuffel only 4 seconds behind him, actually, so you could see them reinvigorate their battle before the end. Valeri continues to pressure Bleekemolen. Meanwhile, Patrick Schauber is either passing or very close to passing Melvin de Groot. The gap has shrunk exponentially in the battle for 7th place. Schauber has gained a lot of time. It was 4/10 across the line between Schauber and de Groot. The battle for 7th and 8th. Really want to see what's going on there, because I get the feeling they should be just coming through the last couple of corners at the moment. I get the feeling that Schauber, if he isn't already past Melvin de Groot, he's going to be right there very quickly. They should be coming towards the start-finish line at the moment. And sure enough, here is that battle, and there is Patrick Schauber. Patrick Schauber is right there with Melvin de Groot. Claudio Remigio Capelli is losing time to Thomas Dombrowski. Melvin de Groot and Patrick Schauber, they're in the midst of battle here. Can Schauber find a way past the 69 car? Can Schauber get back to 5th position, the place he should have started this race? He's certainly got the speed to do so. Oh, and Melvin de Groot goes wide. That's 7th place then for Patrick Schauber. Next target, Thomas Dombrowski. I think we talk a lot about tyre management. I think brake management around this circuit is critical as well. Got to try not to overheat the brakes. Lap traffic there for Schauber. That's not another position gained. That is the recovering late starter, the number 38 car. Patrick Schauber took the start on the first lap, but did so from way further back. Meanwhile, Vladimiros Tsiotsis has closed in on Jill Linster. Tsiotsis almost certainly not going to be able to keep his streak of race victories alive, but a podium will do okay. Jill Linster stands in the way of that podium happening though. Can Vladimiros Tsiotsis find a way through? Go through Curva Grande on lap 13 of this race. Drifting out a little bit wide there is Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Much deeper on the brakes into turn 4. He somehow got that thing stopped. Tsiotsis operating at fine margins here behind Jill Linster. Linster, Luxembourg-based driver, looking to pick up where Liam Hazeman's left off. Hazeman's took 2nd place, of course, in EuroNASCAR Pro in this number 50 car earlier today. 3rd place potentially all we're going to get for Jill Linster. However, Vladimiros Tsiotsis has something to say about that. Linster runs it a little bit wide through turn 8. Meanwhile, Alberto Nasca making his way through the lap traffic. Tsiotsis again, just keeping his beady eye on Linster's movements. I thought Linster was going to drift wide there at turn 10, but it didn't quite happen. Tsiotsis takes a wide berth into turn 11, carries a lot more apex speed, but Linster was there. They will begin the penultimate lap this time by. Number 5 car, Vladimiros Tsiotsis, pressuring Jill Linster as they cross the line to begin lap 14. Alberto Nasca leads by 2 seconds. He's been 1.92 seconds clear of Paul Giffreau for the last 10-15 minutes. And look at Tsiotsis, dives to the inside. Linster gives him a little bit of room to make sure there's no contact, but somehow Linster just about stays ahead. And even more miraculous is the fact that the apex was actually found by Vladimiros Tsiotsis. Once again, he's very late on those brakes, but he locked up as well, and that could prove costly if he keeps doing that. Meanwhile, Schauber has gotten past Dombrowski. So Patrick Schauber is up to 6th place. He's now just got to get around Claudio Remeggio Capelli to salvage a top 5 from a pit lane start. Meanwhile, Vladimiros Tsiotsis is all over the back of Gilles Linster. This is the battle for the podium. Can Tsiotsis get to the inside? He has a look to the inside line. Linster has to give him a little bit of room. They're still side-by-side exiting turn 10. Tsiotsis with the outside for turn 11. And he's hoping Linster goes deep so he can cut back. He tries it, he succeeds. Who gets the power down better? Oh, I'd say it was Linster by a fraction, but Tsiotsis has the inside line. He tries to push Linster wide going through the S's, but it's not to be. Linster just about holds on. He goes shallow out of the corner to try and make sure Tsiotsis has to take the outside around Roma. Turn 14, the final corner. Alberto NASCAR is on to the final lap of the race. These two now cross the line to begin the final lap of the race. Vladimiros Tsiotsis hasn't given up on this in the slightest. He is pressing on. Now, traditionally, as we have seen at turn 4, Tsiotsis is much later on the brakes. Does it come to pass again? Linster covers off the inside wisely. Tsiotsis is once again later and deeper on the brakes. Tries to go around the outside at 4 and then 5. And he just about manages to stay on terra firma. Linster carried the speed nicely, defended nicely, didn't wipe off too much of his speed. Tsiotsis has a little speculative look to the inside, but he's too far back. While all of this is happening, Alberto NASCAR is clear in the lead of the race. He's almost certainly got this victory. But who is going to be on the 3rd step of the podium? Oh, it's going to be contact. And does Vladimiros Tsiotsis pass him? No. He stays alongside Linster, but then gets through anyway. He clearly checked up to make sure he didn't pass because of the contact, but then he did go through anyway. I think that would still be a penalty ultimately for Vladimiros Tsiotsis if they decide to investigate, but we'll have to see. Alberto NASCAR rounds the final corner for the final time. The checkered flag awaits Alberto NASCAR, who crosses the line to take the win. Paul Giffreau takes 2nd. 3rd will go to Vladimiros Tsiotsis, although with that contact, there is a question mark hanging over that result. We'll have to wait and see. Tsiotsis' winning streak is over nonetheless. He crosses the line 3rd ahead of Linster. But what about Capelli and Schauber? Who's 5th? Who's 6th? We need to try and see that if we possibly can. They'll be coming around the final corners now. Has Schauber managed to secure that 5th position? We'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be down to the timing screen. Has Patrick Schauber done it? He has. Patrick Schauber took 5th position. Great job then from Patrick Schauber for Double V Racing to secure 5th place ahead of Claudio Remeggio Capelli. He actually finished 1.8 seconds clear. So I think Capelli, who was already nursing a bit of damage, may have had a problem towards the end. But Patrick Schauber for Double V Racing, who was meant to start in 5th position, has taken 5th position from a pit lane start, which is a very, very impressive performance from the young Austrian. Alberto NASCAR, though, is your race winner. He secures his first win of the 2023 EuroNASCAR 2 season. The sticker will go to him. The trophy will go to him. And I'm sure this will be a popular win among the Italian faithful here. The 54 Cal racing car is once again en route to victory lane. Paul Giffreau, despite not converting his pole position to a victory, I think will be happy with a 2nd place finish in that race. Not only did he hold that position well, but he also kept a watching brief over to Alberto NASCAR all race long, proving that he's every bit as quick as NASCAR. And even though NASCAR is in EuroNASCAR 2, we know how quick he is. We know he's one of probably the top half dozen or so quickest drivers in the paddock overall. And Paul Giffreau is really very quickly bringing himself to that conversation as well. Emiros Siortsis has taken 3rd position. Or has he? Because just announced on the stewarding channel, 1 position penalty for causing an avoidable collision to Vladimiros Siortsis. So Jill Linster will take the 3rd and final step of the overall podium after all. It was clear in the moment that Siortsis lifted off the throttle to try and not gain an advantage over Jill Linster. However, he still got past as a result of that contact, so it's an understandable and I think a fair decision from our stewards there. We get we were going to get a replay there. I think we will get some highlights in the next few moments, but what a race that was for really everyone except NASCAR and Dufro. Everyone else had a very exciting race, but our top 2 didn't really get to have that much fun. They just had their own race and stuck to it, which I think sometimes is the way you want things to go. Of course, Alberto Nasca will shift the championship a little bit towards him with this result. It will still be Vladimiros Siortsis who leads the championship. Alberto Nasca takes his first win of the EuroNASCAR 2 season, and you can see how elated he is with that. He heads up onto the roof of the car. It's jubilant scenes for Alberto Nasca. This win clearly means a lot to him. And the gathered masses around his car as well. Alberto Nasca with a great victory. With a great victory. Brilliant result for NASCAR, a race that he managed to perfection. And you can really see he's been wanting this win, and now that he's got the victory, the relief is really flowing out of the man. I believe that's one of those there is his dad, congratulating him. Alberto Nasca will be interviewed in a little bit. They're singing away, but we are going to hear from Alberto Nasca momentarily here as he gets a little bit of an ice bath before heading into an interview. We'll go down there to the interview in a few seconds' time. But Alberto Nasca has done it on home turf. His first win of the season really couldn't have come at a more poetic facility than the Autodromo Vallelunga. Home turf for NASCAR. First win of the season for NASCAR. And we should go down to him in a few seconds. We are now ready to go down to Alberto.
Alberto, emotional day for you, right?
Best day in my life. I mean, I don't know what to say. I had to take off the shoes because the feet were burning. The pedals were like 100 degrees. Tomorrow morning I'll put some chicken there and I see if it cooks. I think yes. I think it will overcook. Man, I mean, they told me not to exaggerate at the beginning, so I found the pace that apparently was the fastest pace of the race. So finally I learned what they told me. Don't push to go fast. And that's what I did for the first time. The pace was just incredible. But I have to thank many people. First of all, the team, because, you know, when you think about professional teams, I mean, when you think about professional teams, there are many things you can say. Bravo, Jufro. But the thing I love the most about Cal Racing is that they listen to the drivers, and even if they don't say anything, they know what to do. So seeing that me and Jimmy were struggling the first 2 races, they came here with a totally new setup, completely changed, and it worked. I mean, it fucking worked. So what else can I say? Thanks to all my team, thanks to all my family,
thanks to all the people that love me, mia moglie, my wife, la mia agenzia. And special thanks, I owe you maybe 10 beers. What's Jill Lindster behind me? Thanks to Jill Lindster, this win is yours because he pushed me at the start. That's how I passed you through. Thanks, Jill. Thank you. Thank you.
We have now one thing to do. I think this side of the car is for Gianmarco. You come to me with this side because I have a special sticker for you. Sorry, guys. Come with me.
Has done it. He's done it there. The sticker has been applied to the car for the first time this year. The EuroNASCAR 2 sticker goes to someone other than Vladimir Osiortzis and Alberto Nasca, with apologies for a little bit of colourful language during that interview. Absolutely elated, and what a personality he is. I can't wait to see what YouTube content he gets out of this day. And the good news is there's another day to come here at the Autodromo Vallelunga. You see the NASCAR fans here in their droves. And what an awesome job Alberto has made. You see there the Legends car, you see him in his bike leathers there as well on those flags. He's done quite a lot of different racing. Paul Giffreau with a very good day of racing. Let's go down to Andre.
Thank you so much, Adam. Paul, I know you want to see your car here in Victory Lane, but I think your time will come, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this time it was better. I don't want to say next time it will be mine, but next time I will be better for sure. He was fast. He was fast. We were fast too. The gap was big after each lap with Jill. But yeah, I wanted to win this race. I didn't. But I will be stronger tomorrow.
But it seems like you're a very, very fast learner. So what can we expect from you in the next races? Because I think every race for you is a more next step to the victory lane.
Yeah, I don't like to speak early, but for sure, if you look at my pace at Valencia, I was the third car, and now I'm fighting for the first position. So, and in pro I've been second, but with the penalty third. So I have the reason, but I have to take experience to win a race, because for winning a race you don't have just to be fast. There is so much so much other things. So NASCAR was simply better this race, and I hope this will not be the same next race.
All right, thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. Congratulations, amazing race.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Back to you, Adam.
Alberto Nasca definitely did have good pace, but Paul Giffreau, I think that interview says a lot about Paul. He wanted that victory, and even though he got 2 podiums today, including his first podium and his first attempt in EuroNASCAR Pro, he's still striving for more. Of course, I'm sure before we get to the podium ceremony, we will hear from Jill Lindster as well. Lindster is apparently owed 10 beers by Alberto Nasca, per what he said in the Victory Lane interview. So Lindster might have a fun evening here on the Saturday night in Vallelunga, but not too much fun. Lindster, though, very good performance in that race. Of course, he didn't finish third on the road, but thanks to penalty for Osiortzis after that last lap contact, Jill Lindster does take the third step on the podium. He'll be up there shortly with the others. And the fans continuing to arc up to that podium. Is quite a lot of people getting ready for that podium. Just got people up on the podium, generally reveling in the atmosphere here, as well as our photographers. In here, in the background on the mic, some people celebrating. Truly, this is a festival atmosphere today at the American Festival of Rome, and I can imagine that anyone in the local area who isn't here today will catch wind of the Italian victors, NASCAR and Ercole, and think, okay, I think we need to go this weekend to the circuit. Here's the moment that NASCAR took the win, rounded the final corner with a good 2 seconds over Paul Giffreau. He managed that race exceptionally well, didn't relinquish the lead once it came to him, and the emotion was evident to see after he got out of that car. A really beautiful moment, the first victory of the year for Alberto NASCAR as he tries to get that EuroNASCAR 2 title on his second attempt. His family embrace him, the fans are embracing him too. First time this year as a EuroNASCAR 2 victor's sticker. The number of people at the podium seems to only be growing at the moment. What an exceptional spectacle. I believe we are not too far away from a podium. There's Gianluca coordinating everything, and Gianluca, a huge part of the cogs that keep the media machine moving here in EuroNASCAR. It's his home event as well. Our pit lane interviewer Andre Vigold is going to have a home event for the first time in a while this season when we head to Oschersleben. I believe we are now ready to go to the podium. Sounds like we are about to introduce our drivers. Yes, indeed. A rather sweaty Jill Linster to the third step of the podium, but Alberto NASCAR has promised him 10 beers, so I'm sure he'll get some refreshments after this podium ceremony. Paul Giffreau takes the second step, and get ready for the cheer. Alberto NASCAR is an immensely popular man. He waves the Italian tricolor with pride, and he will now hear his national anthem on the podium once again at Vallelunga. Awesome moments on the podium here at the Autodrome of Vallelunga. So far this weekend, it's been a 100% record for Italian winners. in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series races. And that's a streak that could well continue into Sunday. Paul Giffreau, though, is a contender to disrupt that in both categories. Gilles Linster has received his trophy and his bottle of Panot, presented by Pierre Bellin on behalf of the Guérin family, partners of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Paul Giffreau receives his trophy and bottle as well. And then Alberto Nasca receives the biggest trophy of all. Is so happy to see his friends, his compatriots here at Vallelunga, including the circuit management, and receives his trophy, holds it aloft. And there you see the Guérin bottle. And posing for the pictures, Alberto Nasca. Much to the delight of his audience, both here in person, and I'm sure a lot of you watching for Alberto here on YouTube. Much to everyone's delight, he's here on the top step for the first time this year, and how strange is it to not see Vladimiros Tsiotsis on this podium? After 4 wins from 4, it just wasn't to be today. I think he'll come back on Sunday with a lot of red mist, Vladimiros Tsiotsis, because he rather got bullied in both races today. But for now, the champagne is sprayed at Vallelunga once again. And Alberto Nasca with a shower and a bottle to gift to a lucky Cal Racing team member. Let's see if they can nail this. Oh dear, maybe not. I don't think that was a Cal Racing team member. I think that was either a fan or a friend, but nonetheless, half the bottle went missing. The glass stayed intact though, so small mercies. And time for a couple of quick pictures for Alberto Nasca before the next podium ceremony. And, oh, careful. Alberto is soaking in this moment. Throws the hat to the fans. And Alberto Nasca will exit stage right as a very, very happy man. Another trophy for the collection. Legend trophy will be next. Oh. I think Alberto making some comments in Italian to his fans, and will now, I believe, get to the next podium. The Legend trophy for EuroNASCAR 2 drivers over 40 years of age. Third step of the podium to Paolo Valeri. Trying to figure out where the third step of the podium is. Second step of the podium for Melvin de Groot. And Claudio Remeggio Capelli, despite losing out to Patrick Schauber towards the end of the race, climbs to the top of the podium. And of course, another driver in front of his own home crowd here. Looking for friends and family there, I think, in the big crowd. I don't know if it's Big Beard weather, but certainly it's Big Beard summer here in the Legend Trophy as Claudio Remeggio Capelli takes this win. Valeri has received his spoils for third place Melvin de Groot presented with his trophy and bottle for second position. Claudio Remeggio Capelli will receive the victor's trophy at his home track. Come together for the pictures. We'll soon have the rookie trophy up there as well, which was won by Thomas Dombrowski. Very much a race of survival in the rookie trophy. Claudio Remeggio Capelli, Melvin de Groot and Paolo Valeri celebrate. There's a bit of an askew throw there from Claudio Remeggio Capelli, which I'm glad he acknowledged because I was going to. But he doesn't need to throw, he just needs to drive. And he drove very well indeed today. Junior trophy then, or rookie trophy I should say, my apologies. Their podium is next. Nick Schneider, the number 46, taking the third step of the podium. Thomas Doffel, in spite of a few dramas, takes the second step of the podium. And Thomas Dombrowski to the top step once again. Dombrowski, another one of those drivers who I think is never entirely satisfied, very analytical, very much aware that he can challenge in years and races to come further up the overall rankings, but I think he'll be happy with this rookie trophy victory. Certainly Team Blake Molan, I think, will pat him on the back for that result. And the Hano bottles presented once again by Pierre Bellin and the Guerin family. There we go, the podium for the rookie trophy is complete. Still one more podium ceremony to come for the mono-entered lady trophy. Only Arianna Casoli registered for that at the moment. She will still get a trophy and a moment on the podium before we close out this broadcast. So now time for the lady trophy and Arianna Casoli to head up to the podium. Arianna Casoli takes to the podium. And receives her trophy and bottle for her efforts as well. The only Speedhouse driver, if memory serves me correctly, to stand on the podium in this EuroNASCAR 2 race. That's quite a rare thing. I think they'll be looking for better fortunes in EuroNASCAR 2 on Sunday. And Lucas Lasserre in EuroNASCAR Pro, the team boss, will be looking to score some more points in EuroNASCAR Pro tomorrow. A brief look then at some of the highlights of that race. It was a side-by-side duel to the first corner. Jill Linster pushing NASCAR on the outside of the front row. And that, according to Alberto NASCAR, was the difference maker that allowed him into the lead through the Curva Grande. Alberto Nasca into the lead just 3 corners into the race, and it's a lead that he would not let go from that point onwards. Fairly comfortable through the first few corners of the lap. Meanwhile, Capelli and Siortsis were fighting. Siortsis down to 5th place from 3rd on the grid, and he would be pushed out further by the likes of Thomas Toffel and Martin Dubeck, and he responded with a nice big tap to the back of Melvin de Groot that created a 3-wide scenario on the first lap of the race. It all got a bit too close to comfort as everyone tried to find a way through, and Thomas Toffel drifting out wide by Miros Siortsis trying to find some traction. Meanwhile, Alberto Nasca drove away at the head of the order, would gradually build and retain an advantage of about 2 seconds over Paul Giffreau. Meanwhile, Claudio Remeggio Capelli seemingly allowed Vladimiros Siortsis through. Patrick Schauber was working his way through the order after having to start from the pit lane. Melvin de Groot made it easy for him. We had some more dramas elsewhere. We had Siortsis and Linster fighting towards the end of the race as well, as Patrick Schauber managed to fight his way up to 5th position. Vladimiros Siortsis tried to get himself onto the podium. The tag between the two of them, though, would be judged to be unfair, and Vladimiros Siortsis took 3rd on the road, but would ultimately be demoted to 4th position, allowing Jill Linster onto the podium. Alberto Nasca, though, took a great victory in front of his home crowd here at the Autodromo di Vallelunga. And Nasca is on top in NASCAR once again. So a huge congratulations once again to Alberto Nasca and Cal Racing and Gianmarco Ercoli, the 54 Cal Racing crew, taking all of the victories here on Saturday. But what will Sunday bring? 2 races, one for EuroNASCAR 2, one for EuroNASCAR Pro to come here on Sunday at the American Festival of Rome, the NASCAR GP of Italy. Make sure you join us at 10:10 in the morning Central European Time for round 6 of the EuroNASCAR 2 season.